Let's talk to Lord Daniel Moylan, who's a Conservative peer himself, who is not, as far as I know, a hereditary peer. Lord Daniel Moylan, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. No, I'm not an hereditary peer.
No, so you're just...
I'm a life peer. I've been appointed for life. And
you've been appointed because you're a crony, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm a crony. He'd prefer to have the House of Lords full of Labour cronies than have hereditary peers with any level of independence, you see. That's what
I mean, people say they were independent, and that may well be true, but, I mean, I don't quite understand why it was that Tony Blair decided there should be no more hereditary peers, but then left kind of 99 behind. Why did he do that?
92, actually.
92, was it? OK.
Yeah. Well, that's going back in the mists of history, but it's important to understand that. Labour came in with an idea in 1997 that they were going to have a big reform of the House of Lords, but of course nobody could agree, they couldn't agree amongst themselves what reform they actually wanted. The great thing is everyone is open to a discussion about having a more democratic House of Lords, either completely elected or partly elected. Because in a democracy, that's got to be on the table. That's got to be a real prospect. But in fact, getting agreement around that proved impossible for Labour. So he got got a compromise deal and said, as an interim measure, we will get rid of all the hereditary peers except these 92, as an interim measure. But we'll be back in a short while with a proper reform. And that was the basis of what Tony Blair agreed back in 1997 or thereabouts. And of course, they never came back with a proper reform.
No.
Now, Labour
I mean, they haven't been in power for a while. I mean, is it fair to say that
they did never come back in the remaining 13 years or whatever that they were in power? They never came back with a proper reform. The Conservatives didn't come forward with a proper reform, but amazingly, in Labour's manifesto this time, they came forward with a reform package which included getting rid of the hereditary peers, having an age limit, having attendance requirements so that if you didn't turn up on a regular basis, it's a voluntary house, nobody has to turn up. If you didn't turn up on a regular basis, you get kicked out. There's a whole package of reforms, and lo and behold, what have they done? They've said all of those reforms are going to go into a commission, they're going to be inquired into, except the hereditary peers one. Why that? Because nearly all the hereditary peers are either Conservatives or crossbenchers. It's just a partisan way of getting their opponents out of the House of Lords. If you saw this happening in a banana republic, they'd all be writing petitions about it and lighting candles now, a new government coming in and throwing out half the existing legislature. They'd be writing petitions and lighting candles and protesting about it. But when Labour does it, they seem to think they can get away with it. Well, they can't.
OK. Well, so you think you can stop it. I'm going to leave it there just because...
We don't think we can stop it, we can hold it up.
OK, because I've got to talk to Baroness Diane Hayter, who's former Shadow Deputy Leader of the House of Lords from 2017 to 2021. She's a Labour peer. Baroness Diane, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I don't know if you heard what Lord Moylan had to say there. He says it's a partisan move. You know, this is just the usual sort of Labour spite, getting rid of Conservative peers. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a great fan of the House of Lords. I think it should be an elected second chamber. I wouldn't mind if you did away with everyone.
Well, I mean, there is always a case for a unicameral system. I mean, the issue is, I mean, Daniel's completely wrong, of course, because the last Tories government put in about 100 Tory peers, and actually, getting rid of the hereditaries will only get rid of about 40 Tory peers. But all those are men, and not only are they only men because that's the system, but they are there not on their merit, not like someone like Daniel who's done stuff that have been recognised and put him in there. They are there because they're grandfathers, their great-grandfathers, their great-great-uncle, or someone else did something of worth, and therefore they've got it simply by inheritance.
Yeah.
I cannot understand any democratic reason for people being in there because of their inheritance, and they're all men anyway.
Right.
The other thing
I don't mind the fact that they're all men. I mean, is that a particular
You may
problem?
not, but I do.
Why is that a problem for you, just because they're men? I mean, half the population is men, half the population is women. You're in the House of Lords. I wouldn't say, why are you there? You're a woman.
Well, we're of course, and we're only a minority in the Lords.
Are you?
You know, if you, oh yeah, we're only about 28%, I think, or maybe 29% now. So you know, women who are 51% of the population are grossly underrepresented. I mean, we wouldn't in any other walk of life. We wouldn't have artists being made, you know, some member of the Royal Academy because their grandfather was a good artist.
No,
we wouldn't
not.
expect a
No,
scientist
listen,
to get
I'm not in any way defending hereditary peers. I would, I'd get rid of all of it and just start again and let you be elected. Whether you're a woman or a man or a non-binary person or, you know, a cabbage, stand for election and get yourself elected.
Well, I mean, the one bit I do agree with Daniel is that we've never managed to get agreement on that. The Lib Dem, the coalition, tried something and couldn't get agreement on that.
I mean, the Lib Dems are way overrepresented,
the issue for now.
The Lib Dems, sorry to interrupt you, the Lib Dems are way overrepresented in the House of Lords, I think.
Yeah. And so actually are the Conservatives compared with what they did in the election. But that's a different issue. The issue for now is that actually most people agree with this. And there will be a small number of people, which is just extraordinary. I mean, I would advise the Conservative Party, and I'm not a Conservative, but yesterday they were defending private schools. Today they're now defending the right of inheritance.
There's nothing wrong with private schools.
No, I'm just... Sorry, let me finish Today they're making the case for maintaining a hereditary way of making laws. I mean, we make laws in the House of Lords.
No, you don't.
Sorry.
No, you just hold them up. You don't make any laws.
No, we don't.
You don't make any laws.
Sorry. With respect, every law has to be agreed by the House of Lords.
Yeah, but you don't make the law. The law is made in the House of Commons. You just get to look at it and send it back.
I'm really sorry, but you're not right.
Yeah, I am right. I'm always right.
No. How lovely. Only a man would say that.
You've got a real problem with men, haven't you? Have you ever heard of the word misandry? I think I'm going to accuse you of that. I think we've got to run because we've got the news coming up. I'm sorry, Baroness Diane Hayter, unelected peer who sits in the House of Lords, thinks that she's better than men and doesn't like men, doesn't like private schools and doesn't like hereditary peers. Well, there you are. How surprising. Welcome to the new world of Keir Starmer and his Labour goons.